find on the page. This is a proposed change to Turkish animal law in 2012. This is Article 3, number 3, which is like this. Local administrations are responsible for the rounding up of the animals to the animal shelters. These animals will first be held in the observation areas established in these centers. Animals that have been sterilized, vaccinated and rehabilitated will be registered and cared for in the shelters until they are adopted. When the shelter cannot sustain the population, the rehabilitated stray animals are accommodated in the natural life parks until they are adopted. The enforcement of this paragraph will be determined in the regulation issued by the Ministry, which means that the proposed changes to Turkey's very comprehensive animal rights law number 5199 and the draft document, which was prepared in secret and presented to the Parliament for the adaptation process to the European Union in 2012, if passed, would mean a slow and lingering death to all of the Turkey's stray animals.
Thank you. So we're going to talk about a subject that seems obvious at first sight, which is the presence of cats in Istanbul. But we're hoping to talk about it from a perspective that shifts or sends some light to the subject. We think, especially in documenting this project and looking at the ways in which the stories of cats in Istanbul and the way that the city is portrayed in mainstream media, it's quite anecdotal, it's quite banal, but we think that in this system we can find some really relevant ideas and some really relevant keys that we can take as some kind of survival kit for a very uncertain future. And we think that these can provide tools to some extent deal with the consequences of the catastrophes that humans have already made. So we will question the role of human action, but also we want to use what's already here in Istanbul to learn from it and to extract new models for species to live together. So that would be a little bit the framework of what we're trying to do. So, like we said, and like we discussed in the beginning of this process, when we had the first review with Peter, this is one of the most evident things that we see when we enter Istanbul, when we visit, is the presence of cats. But what's really interesting for us about it is that they disrupt this stereotypical relationship that we've learned as Swedes, that is a stereotypical relationship of domestication and of domination. But beyond what's already been done, beyond the vast documentation of infrastructures, of the way that these cats live, of the way that the city cares for these cats, we don't want to repeat that work. We want to think about, like I said, the ways in which these can provide an alternative model for coexistence between species. In this way, we think we must learn from Istanbul, and we must devise new ways of coexistence, which resonates with some of the key words in Donna Haraway's thought, such as the notion of making kin. She says, "No species, not even our own arrogant one, pretending to be good individuals in so-called modern Western scripts, acts alone. Assemblages of organic species and of abiotic actors make history, the evolutionary kind and the other kinds too. Making kin is perhaps the hardest and most urgent part. I think that the stretch and recomposition of kin are allowed by the fact that all earthlings are kin in the deepest sense, and it is past time to practice better care of kin as assemblages, not species one at a time. Kin is an assembling sort of word. All critters share a common flesh, laterally, semiotically, and genealogically. ancestors turn out to be very interesting strangers. Kin and familia, outside what we thought was family or genes, uncanny, haunting, and active. And this is what we see in Istanbul with the reality that cats create. They exist between worlds. They reshape the relationship between domestication, care, citizenship, and wilderness. It is not a coincidence, what Emre just read, that's one of Turkey's guesses as to what Brussels' requirement would be for Turkey to enter the European Union would be to get rid of its network, of its cat ecosystem. Indeed, these cat urban ecosystems resist European models based on domestication. What we see is beings who are free from human ownership, but they navigate between our affection, they bond and they give and receive love, but they also define the traditional relationship between love and property that we're used to among ourselves, and that originated in Western capitalist societies. So it's almost like a ritual of animal polyamory. The cats come, they give you love, they take love from you, and then they go, and they in this way create a network in between the city that wouldn't exist otherwise. And they don't need us, but perhaps they do in the same way that we need them. There's also some historical facts that we wanted to point out, and the reasons why cats in Turkey, we think, are a good model for us to learn.
Well, in the Islamic world, cats are considered guardians. They may have helped protect the city populations from rat-borne plague. They have also helped libraries from mice invasions. And there is also in the Hadith, Muhammad was saved by cats from snake bites, and so there's like a historical tradition of the cats here. And this is a contradiction to Europe, where cats were considered as witches, helpers, and they were connected to devils, and they misread the cats as being the cause for the plague in Europe. So this is also where we put the cats in between Europe and the Middle Eastern world as well.
So that would be a little bit the motivation behind making this project. And now we would like to talk a little bit more about the process and what we made.
Well, we had the opportunity to make a neon sign, and maybe first we will play the video of the process, and then we will show the result and more talk about why we did that specific piece.
We can talk at the same time.
Yeah.
This is when you have shot.
Yeah. And we also wanted to highlight some of the relationships between cats and neon, right?
Yeah. Obviously, the neon is something that allows us to make a 3D flame that can be visualized easily. But also, we were seeking to go notes on the first meeting we had at the cafe by the tower. I think it's you asking instead that a standing cat means bad electricity or something. But it's kind of this kind of energy that is really obvious through the neon signs, and it's kind of a way to connect
So
the city.
you're saying the bad energy and the electric energy.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And also same as like neon signs are very, it's kind of the very strong visual message, and the town is full of it, and city is full of cats, and it's kind of a street sign, also has cats. It's all communicated quite well. I think like the medium is so strong, but at the same time it's the gas itself is not harmful. It doesn't do anything for the environment. And
what was that too?
Yeah.
They're getting out of the air, out of the...
Oh, they're getting the air out of
So we of course wanted to be in a way translators, which has been also a role in this a lot, and to be able to give a voice as well to the one ecosystem that we see as really relevant, which is the tat of cats, and to in a way throw it into this productive and urban ecosystem that we've learned in being here, this ecosystem of production, and in this way create something new, and also giving away control of the final result to the workshop, like we did to the workshop here in Shanghai. This was today at 1 p.m.
and voila.
And this is the... So we wanted to talk as well a little bit about the trace of color.
Sorry.
The trace of color.
Oh yeah, obviously we wanted to have two colors, just to emphasize a little bit construction of the word, and maybe to exist, we need the coexistence to work where we explained. And the red neon was the obvious choice, actually. It's the simplest one and the original one. And also you have this obvious connection to what a danger could be, or a catastrophe, or maybe something, a rupture in our relationship. Okay, a rupture in our relationship with the cats could happen and disturb us. And we chose the pink because it can be seen as a sort of fake red, or a red that has not appeared yet, and something that's coming and not yet here, or something that is fading away. And so it connected the time, the past, the present, and the future, maybe.
As a possible warning or a possible option of a different way of acting in the face of an upcoming catastrophe. That is also the message of this coexistence, is to take ourselves down from the pedestal that humans have historically put themselves in, and just understand ourselves as one more species, because actually cats were there at the same time as we were, and they don't really need us to feed them, and they don't really, but we can give a lot to each other. So I guess also to finish, we have to say that this is an open-ended project, because we just received this neon, and we of course wanted to show it to you, but the question of where to place it remains open. And we have some ideas, and we've been discussing where to put it. Maybe we would definitely use this to be able to give it back to the city in some way. And some of the things that we discussed were if we would leave the sign at sort of a distance where humans can read it, or if we would perhaps lower the height of the sign to make a point that there are, other species that might see things from another perspective. But we would definitely like to use that already existing material that we didn't want to counterfeit or copy in a bad way, that is all of the cats and their ecosystem, and just to make a little point to be able to give them this voice, maybe, in our humble ability to translate that. So one last quote from Donna Haraway and her messages on making kin we really like is this: make kin, not babies. It matters how kin generate kin. So that's our little contribution. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I already like this idea of
lowering it down to the level of the cat as, you know, as something of a provocation on that level. Which would not be hard to do, you just have to lower it.
Of course. We couldn't now. Now we had a half an hour, we received the thing, we had to give the thing on Monday, we received it now, and we could only do this, but of course this wouldn't be the last destination of the neon. So...
Yeah, you guys were really good on deadlines.
Can I ask, is it really that unusual? I mean, I like the project, but just to know. Is it really unusual to have cats in the city?
yeah.
I've never experienced
Never.
the same way.
For me it was a complete shock.
Because from where I am, in European community, even though a little unstable presence, I guess, but we are not allowed to have dogs, but there are free cats everywhere. And
But not as it used to be. There were millions of cats. They're not anymore.
I don't know, but I mean, I did a project
Not
a few years ago against cats.
You did a project against cats.
I think what makes this really special from what we've been able to gather is the stance of the city, the way that there was huge resistance to this law, for example. People want the cats, people care for the cats, the infrastructures are put by also people for the cats to be there, and the authorities care for the cats. My experience in Sweden, or maybe Spain where I'm from, is that the authorities are always against the animals. They try to remove them, they try to put them away.
But why do you pick the cats considering that they don't, for instance, the dogs here receive welfare system, while the cats don't? Like, it appears to me that a metaphor for coexistence of Istanbul, the dogs are more peculiar in a way. No, there are other places in the world. But the cats are literally left alone.
Well, they're not really, because read that then, like when cats are sick, people, those who like feel for the cat, that know the cat, then they actually take it to the vet, and they also sometimes when it's cold, they bring it in at night, and so they're like this interesting property issue. Like
I meant by the government.
No, that's not just like a good
Yeah.
way. No.
Another point of the reason behind this choice is the fact that it's a well-known image. It's the media image of sort of the animal, I suppose, status and the coexistence of wildlife with animals, with the humans here, is cats. So if we talked about dogs, it would seem a little bit, without addressing cats, it would seem a little bit like we're trying to overstretch the thing. But I think, of course, they add, like this is a movement. It's not like it's just cats. It's also what they eat. It's what we eat. It's all matter. It's vegetables. It goes everything here.
Yeah, you're basically saying we're just one of a bunch of species. Yeah, whereas in the beginning I thought coexist meant just coexist between us because we can't even do that.
No.
And so, it is true that at that scale. But then I definitely think that the positioning of the thing is very important because you don't want to speak to humans as much as you want to speak to other animals.
Or from the point of view of other animals in a way, and being translators of that voice that they can't produce, but it's a right that they have to be there. And that we've kind of taken this right of giving death and life to animals, we've kind of taken that.
But why, I mean, you could also get one of those nice little plastic cat houses or whatever and have that in the room as well. The neon light, it would almost look like some kind of Las Vegas.
Yeah, I guess. Like that was, running away from that imagery was after we discussed with you that it was already documented in the housing. So maybe we could have done that, but it felt like we didn't want to do badly what others had done already in terms of picking the house.
Yeah, there was a lot. There's a lot. There's books in this exhibition down the road. There's a whole thing on the documentation on Istanbul houses for cats, informal. So it's a big subject here. Well, that's what we noticed. And the whole subject, I think you guys were working a little bit. You know, the time had a big effect on you guys. Because quite frankly, they had 1 hour to develop a project to submit it to the neon people. And the project started off from catastrophe. Yes, yeah. So they pulled off, I think, a very elegant and very interesting project based on kind of working backwards, forwards. So in a way, now that you're here, you might be able to do a self-critique where you might say, well, is this way of working, is this way of working actually interesting, or does this also have certain issues that we need to talk about? Because, you know, this is a 4-day workshop. You guys used it incredibly well. But then one has to ask, you know, in a self-critical way, if you did a drawing of this thing and had time to think about it. I don't know. Personally, I think it's really very strong. But anyone else?
I think not the left hand.
I just hope it can also improve, like, just like it's a big part of your thoughts, the first outcome, but it can continue with all those narratives also you attach to it, you know, the stories and the actual situation and animals and the urban space and create them. It can develop, I think, yeah, so that is only the remark.
I think we can I think it's not the high of the installation, but the inside or outside. So, like the other project one before. So, this is also something, you know, it should be more visible. This is the most unvisible point, you know, of the room also. Corner. Maybe most of the if you want to reach more, maybe you have to think the space of installation.
Yeah.
Not to bring the cats here, you know. Maybe you have to go to the cats.
That was one idea.
It wouldn't last long. It's going to end up in somebody's living room. That's the problem.
But we could also put it in a shop maybe where they're usually at, and then like it's not a commercial sign, so it would be something different that people will like, what's this?
That's true.
That would be an idea.
But this ends anyway in 3 weeks. And if someone can take it to a shop where there may be cats in front or something like that.
Kasap maybe to
Butcher.
butcher maybe. Get a butcher.
Oh, near.
or fish market, you know, there are
So the butcher should have the vacuum.
Trying to eat. Again. I mean, we would have to eat again. I think we do with the butcher. Yes. No difference between species.
So you are against cats in general?
No, I'm not against. No. I think it's it's fine. It's very. I was surprised by within this pan speciesism that we are referring to. But then we were so selective in the cats, and so I was wondering, what's so great about this cat? But I guess there is. It's just I'm blind.
I think for us, it's just a really unusual balance that's been created between humans and cats in this, and it's easy to say. Sorry.
It's also one of the animals that humans doesn't eat. That's a way of here. Make some
Yes.
shine.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. But you
Is
know
the
what?
future way of coexists with the planet is to
Yeah, and in a way, like to create the future models of coexistence with things that already happen, because it's easy to fantasize about how we might, you know, be able to live in the future, but it's for us it's interesting to learn lessons from things that already take place, and maybe to assemble those and evaluate what is working here, what's really valuable from this, what can we learn from this, how can we move on in a way, and how can we revert this man-made catastrophe that we've done to the planet. Perhaps if we had less power and animals had more power, or if we had to share the living environments like we did in the beginning, but now knowing everything that we've come through, we could get some more.
Cats are one of the top man-made killers of wild birds.
Which is a problem.
Yeah,
Which is a problem. They have. I remember reading somewhere that cats are responsible for the small amount of variety amongst birds. There would be more variety, but the cats are actually eating quite a lot of them.
Buildings are the biggest problem, biggest killer.
I think like that's really interesting that you bring that up, because I think one of the ways in which I think we can think about, this is my personal opinion, but make futures is to take the current ecosystems as truth. So we can't really look back and think, you know, before we made so many cats, we probably didn't have this problem with birds, but now this loss that we've made, actually, in the way that we've domesticated some animals and eaten others and so on, this is a new nature that we have to address. So that's, I mean, that would be a classic, I think, example of dealing with loss. If we end up without these wild birds, but with a lot of cats, maybe that's fine. I don't know. Is that fine?
Wings of cats.
Maybe it's better to have cats than not to have anybody at all but us here in these grey concrete.
Yeah, we use it as kind of a biological weapon also to take out the rats instead of pesticides, or not pesticides, but poison.
Yeah.
No, but I think we had that discussion. Who was it? Serkan? There you are. Weren't you talking about the dogs, where they were putting dogs at some point? Somebody was bringing
When they took the dogs to the island. I mean, somehow, and this is like a really old story, but people were more afraid of the dogs, and somehow the cats are always considered clean, and so there's this relationship in the neighborhoods, rare, I mean, also with the dogs, but maybe not in the entire city. So dogs can be considered more dangerous by some people, and they don't always get the affection that the cats do. Cats are more privileged in that sense. Now, they never did such a thing to the cats. Like, let's take all the cats and bring them to the islands to die.
Of course. But we created this animal privilege as humans. We've decided who we eat and who we love, and that's also really interesting.
and then we have the
We can
discussion
change
of
that.
cat and dog people.
And then the people who look like their dogs.
Yes.
I was just thinking, I mean, it's not really on the Istanbul Ist in the text. It's kind of a cliche thing, because many shops or like magazines use that Ist in Istanbul, but in a way I was with the cats and everything. Then there be like a further step to the object itself. Somehow it's
Actually, there's one type of can check. It's with the neon.
Yeah.
We made it
Yeah.
simple as an element.
Yeah. Nice.
Of course,
For a connection.
yeah, but of course it needs to be connected to the city. We can't keep it on a white cube. It doesn't make sense on a white cube. It needs to be put back on the street. Protect it so that it lasts, but in some real environment, not a museum.
Well, from a curatorial, I mean, you were just going to say something last week? Were you, I know you were about to say something when.
Yeah, I found something, but
I know, because I was going to say from a curatorial point of view, I mean, since we're only here 3 more weeks anyway, and everybody's leaving stuff around, I would say more to modify it to this space now, but ask if someone can move it, to like the butcher shop or something later. Because it would be really nice.
To a vet shop.
So maybe that, and then it will have an afterlife. So it can have different phases. But I think for now, definitely its location, height, or next to a window, or a mouse hole.
Yeah.
There's no mice hole here. Classic. And I don't think that the mice would be very happy.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's just effectively, and I think we could, if you would allow me to if we could have a little bit of a conclusion